Let's read chapter 47 of Cicero's Pro Caelio. Alright, what just happened in the previous chapter? He was talking about how he's an orator. Caelius is an orator, and that's a hard job. That is surely evidence that Caelius is a hard-working person. It's so hard that for that reason the work offends people and deters them from the pursuit, not because people like the talent is lacking for people or because their boyhood training is lacking, but because it's a hard job. Therefore, you should feel about Caelius that he's hard working. And he's going to then talk about Anhik, or this man, if si se sisi vitai dedisset, if he had given himself. Say is himself, same meaning as say, just slightly more emphatic and kind of nicer, because here it would have been sisti if he had just had say, it would have elided mostly. So say sisti kind of fills out that sound a bit more. If he had given himself to that way of life, that life. Consularem hominem ad modum adolescens in judicium vocavisset, would he have called? This is a question that has resulted from a if part. So if he had given himself to that life, would he have called? Question mark. Would he have called a consular rank person, a man of consular rank in judicium, to court, to trial, ad modum adolescens, while he is still very much a young man. Well, while he was still very much a young man. Ad modum is a strengthening word, which you could translate as quite, like quite a young man. You could also translate it as completely, totally a young man. According to Quintilian, it was according to Pliny's calculation, Caelius was 23 years old when he called to court the person who had been consul alongside Cicero in Cicero's year of consulship. He basically sued Hybrida. I think that was for electoral bribery. And so he says, would he have called a man of consular rank while he was still very much a young man into court? This young man, i.e. Caelius, if he were fleeing from labour, si laborem fugeret, si obstrictus voluptatibus teneretur, hac in acie quotidie versaretur, appeteret inimicitias, in judicium vocaret, subiret periculum capitis. Ipse inspectante populo Romano dot iam mensis, aut de salute, aut de gloria dimicaret. This young man, if he were fleeing from labor and work, if obstrictus, literally having been bound up, voluptatibus, in pleasures, teneretur, he were held. If he were held in pleasures, having been bound up, or you could say held in bondage to pleasures. If he were held in bondage to pleasures, hac in acie, would he, in this battlefront, literally a line of troops ready for battle, would he be involved every day in this battlefront? Would he be seeking out enmity? Enmity is the opposite of friendship. Hostility, I should say. Enmity. Opposite of amicitias. Amicitia is inimicitia, just as amicus is the opposite of inimicus. Would he be seeking hostilities? Would he be calling into court? There's a missing word here, calling people into court. Would he be undergoing the danger of his head or of capital punishment? So you could say, would he be undergoing the danger of capital punishment, or would he be risking his neck? Ipse, he himself. Would he, inspectante populo Romano, with the people of Rome, with the Roman people looking on, ablative absolute, would he, totiam mensis, mensis is accusative is ending, for so many months, that's accusative duration of time, for so many months now, with the Roman people looking on, aute salut, aute gloria, either concerning safety, his own safety, or concerning glory, would he be fighting? So would he, with the, if he were a slacker, would he himself, for so many months now, be fighting either for his safety or his glory, with the people of Rome looking on? So that's, and then sort of like a section break there in some editions of the text. Nihil nigitur illa vicinitas redolet, nihil nominum fama, nihil Baiae deniquipsae loquuntur. And the nihil is kind of like an adverb here. Redolet is our main verb, illa vicinitas subject. Therefore, does that vicinity, that neighborhood, stink, literally produce a horrible smell? Nihil, nothing. Stink nothing means like stink of nothing. And then ne is the question word, making it all a question. Therefore, does that neighborhood stink of nothing? Or does it not reek, that neighborhood? I.e., it's the source of all of these problems that Caelius is showing, not Caelius's character. It's the neighborhood. Does that neighborhood not stink, therefore? Does not the reports of men, does not Baiae itself, finally doesn't Baiae itself not speak out anything? So nihil is the object of loquuntur. It's kind of adverbial still as well. Nihil. Does the reports of men and Baiae itself finally not speak out? I.e., it's the woman who's the source of the bad rumor. Illae vero non loquuntur solum, veretiam personant. These things, indeed, do not only speak, verum etiam goes together, but even, they even resound. Personant is not from person, but from sono sonare, and then the pair strengthens it. They resound. Huc unius mulieris lipidinesse prolapsut ea non modo solitudinem ac tenebras atquae flagitiorum integumenta non quaerat, sed in turpissimus rebus frequentissima celebritate et clarissima luce laetetur. That's one kind of continuation of that sentence. So they resound. These indeed resound. That, and so there's been a verb of speaking, therefore accusative and infinitive that the lust of the one woman, of just one woman, esse prolapsum, is literally has slipped out, has slipped out hook to this extent, like to here. You can translate it as so far that with the ut. That's a bit of an unusual use of hook and ut together. They resound that one woman's lust has slipped out so far that she not only, non motto, not only does she something the solitude solitude is loneliness and shadows, darkness, and these coverings of her wrongdoing, non quaerat is our main verb. Not only does she not search out secrecy and darkness and these usual, or you could just say these, coverings up of her wrongdoing. She doesn't do that. She doesn't try to hide it. Not only does she not try to hide her wrongdoings, but in turpissimus rebus, in the most disgusting or the most foul things, most foul activities, frequentissima celebritate, with the biggest crowd and the brightest light, she delights. And then laetetur is going to be going with in turbissimus. She delights in the most foul activities while surrounded by while accompanied with the largest crowd and the most brightest of daylight. In English, we'd say in broadest daylight. She delights in these things, the foulest things. And we have a really good note from our commentary here. Cicero sets up a multifaceted contrast between Caelius and Clodia here. Not only are their actions diametrically opposed in intention and inspiration, labor versus libido, but they're carried out in different places, Baiae versus Rome, the neighbourhood, the vicinitas, versus the forum, and with different audiences, a big crowd of friends versus the Roman public. We are to see Caelius as responsible and civic-minded, and we're to see Clodia as shameless and selfish. So I'm going to get us to highlight what are the parts that really are setting up this contrast, this antithesis between Caelius and Clodia. I'm going to highlight them here. Labor and libido. Where is that in our text? Labor, if he were fleeing from labor, he's not fleeing from labor. And if we were held in pleasure, so that's this is sort of like a bit of a negative part, like denying the negative about Caelius. But yeah, so there's some words there. Where is libido? It's here. This the lust of one woman. So that's a sort of contrast. The hard-working nature of Caelius, his labor, and the lust, the wantonness of Clodia. Then we also have the contrast of Baiae versus Rome, the neighborhoods that they're in. So Baiae, if we haven't gone into much detail about Baiae, it is a beach party place. It's a city or town that's on the beach in the Napoli kind of region. It's in the Bay of Naples. It's very beautiful, southern Italy, fine weather, lots of wine, lots of prostitutes. It's got I think it's got hot springs as well. Baiae is it's like saying Vegas in English. You can just say he went to Vegas, and everyone fills in their minds, oh yeah, and he did all kinds of nasty, sinful things there. Baiae is like that for Rome, where it's like you say Baiae and they're thinking, yeah, it's all the beach parties, prostitutes, and kind of no goodness. So Baiae speaks out. Then there was Rome, the people of Rome, I guess. Does he have the mention of the place of Rome? Not quite, but just the Roman people. There's the neighborhood versus the forum. Let's see if we can find where that is said. In the neighborhood, that was, doesn't the neighborhood, that neighborhood stink? Whereas he was calling into Eudicium, into the court people. It may have been like there was also Eudicium there. Where is the forum mentioned? Didn't even mention it in just only the previous one, but it may have been in 45, which we didn't look at ourselves. Then we have the big crowd of friends versus the Roman public. And that is definitely Populo Romano looking on with with the people of Rome looking on at Caelius. He's in the public eye. He's being looked to as like his public glory, his public performance, versus the public performance of Clodia. There's all these people looking on. They're this frequentissima celebritate, this giant crowd, biggest crowd of onlookers who are not good onlookers. This is very much a negative kind of reputation thing. So Clodia is surrounded by these dodgy friends, this big crowd, and Caelius is surrounded by the Roman public. There's, I'd say, Gloria. He's fighting for glory and safety, whereas Clodia is has all this fama, bad report about her that really resounds.